BlueVolt. Solar power everywhere.
Dr. Matt Edwards here for BlueVolt, coming at you live from the Arabian Peninsula, a place of fossil fuel generation, but also driving change in solar. Now, it's an exciting time in solar at the moment. In the last year, we've just added an extra 100 gigawatts, 100 billion watts of solar generation. We've now got 500 online in total. Isn't that awesome? But how many watts does humanity actually use in total? Well, we're currently using 18 terawatts of power. That's a whopping 18,000 billion watts. Damn. So, solar is only actually making up a couple of percent. That's lame, right? Wrong. And I'm going to explain why. Now, although we've done amazing work to get solar to this point, it does illustrate that we've got a whole lot of work left. But you shouldn't write solar off. Solar is currently growing at 25% a year. That's incredible growth. I could tell you about a couple of other things that once grew that fast. The mobile phone and the motor car. You might have heard of them. In fact, with 25% growth, we're going to hit 1 terawatt of solar capacity in the next few years, probably 2022. This would make solar 5% of world generation. Still sound lame? 2 years after that, we'll be at 2 terawatts or 10%. Even the big oil countries know what's going on, and they're getting ready to make the jump. Now, I hear so often from so many people, solar just can't fill the gap, it can't make loads of power, it's just a pipe dream. What I like to talk about is how much solar energy actually falls on the surface of the Earth. You know how I mentioned we use 18 terawatts of power? Well, the Earth actually receives 120,000 terawatts of power from the sun. That's 6,000 times more than we need. This dwarfs any other known reserves of oil, gas, coal, uranium, everything. Here's a cool infographic showing the amount of land we would need to power the entire Earth with solar. These tiny squares are all we need, really, and they include projected power usage increases out to 2030. But I hear so many times solar only works with the sun's out. So what? Let me tell you, that's not really a big deal. There are many ways to solve that, and we don't even need to solve it just yet. You don't even need storage until you hit about 30% solar in the grid. I also hear that solar is too expensive. This is usually from people who haven't quite caught up with the news yet. Solar's a tenth of the price as it was 10 years ago. It's half as cheap as coal, and both pumped hydro and battery storage are getting cheaper too. In a world where solar generates terawatts of cheap renewable energy, there really isn't hope for the fossil fuel industry. We'll still need to mine things like silicon, silver, copper, aluminium and other metals, and actually we'll probably need to work out how to use less of those things. But we'll work it out. By getting our terawatts from renewable sources, we'll reduce our emissions massively. It currently takes about 2 years for a solar panel to pay back its energy, but we'll start getting that energy from solar too, so it won't really matter too much. You'll power your electric car from solar, your house, your workplace. In fact, from the moment you step out the door in the morning, the sun will be powering your daily life. With cheap, decentralized solar, we can also put the world's poor onto the grid, helping to alleviate poverty. We'll need changes to the grid, we'll need the transition to be managed by politicians to help avoid a bun fight, but when we figure it out, we'll be taking one big step to saving the planet. Join us. I'm Matt Edwards for BlueVolt.
BlueVolt. Solar power everywhere.